After a week-long hiatus, the World Championship Series for the iRacing.com World of Outlaws, the NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, returns to one of the newest dirt ovals here in the sim. The top 35 dirt sim racers on the planet will put their 410 sprint cars through their paces here tonight at the famous Weedsport Speedway in Weedsport, New York. This evening's festivities mark the halfway point in this 10-race season, meaning we are just 5 races away from seeing who will hoist the championship trophy, cash the $10,000 check, and be dubbed a world champion. Good evening, dirt racing fans, and welcome to the virtual Weedsport, New York for continuing coverage of the greatest show on virtual dirt here on DirtVision.com and iRacing's Facebook page. My name is Chase Rodman, joining the booth by Justin Prince with Tyler Maxson in the production truck. And Justin, the next 2 weeks, these drivers are going to be going to 2 completely new racetracks to this series, and it's going to be really intriguing to follow along with.
Absolutely, especially since these types of tracks, they race differently than any of the other ones for obvious reasons on the calendar as well. Both of them slick up very quickly compared to every other track on the calendar. In other words, the next 2 weeks are going to be critical to be able to make sure you're ready for those races, know how to adapt to the potential changes, as well as the fact that these are brand new tracks these next 2 weeks. This is a chance for some to make history.
No doubt about it. Let's take a look at the standings, the championship standings. They are oh so close at the top. Alex Bergeron with 373 points, trying to win his 3rd championship in a row. But Hayden Cardwell keeping him right there within striking distance, just 2 points behind for the defending World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series champion. The 22 car is going to be on the prowl here tonight. You see Kendall Tucker back there in 3rd, minus 58. Tim Ryan and Nick Cooper, who is in his home state here tonight. He's from Waterloo, New York, and now racing tonight at Weedsport, New York. So Cooper, a little bit of maybe momentum on his side here, but he's having a great season. But, man, those top 2 are so close, Justin.
Yeah, and both of them, when there was an event here a few weeks back at Weedsport Speedway, were lightning quick and were favorites to win said event. The driver who ended up winning that event, though, Kendall Tucker. So the top 3 are all known in the first few weeks, in the first few months in the history of this track and this service to be quick here. It's also going to be key, though, for everyone else to keep in mind about that relegation line, because for J.D. Brown, he needs to keep his consistency going that he's had the past couple weeks to build that cushion over Rusty Kruger. Anything happens for any of the drivers on the second part of that graphic, things could go wrong and quickly and snowball in the second half of a season such as this.
Yeah, only 5 races remain here here coming in tonight, and then 4 races afterwards. Next week we head off to Cedar Lake Speedway, the newest track in the iRacing sim, as we take a look now at the point structure, how these drivers will earn points throughout a night of racing here at the Weedsport Speedway. Heat races, there will be 4 of them. The top 4 drivers will transfer out of each heat race, and the winner of each heat race will get 8 points to their championship total, with 8th place getting 1 point. You see, it goes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you head over to the feature event. You don't get any points for being in the B main event here tonight, but you do get points if you are in the feature event. The winner will get 70, then it goes down from 3, and then as you hit from 11th through 20th, goes 2 points down per position thereafter. So 20th place will get 23. So a pretty big point difference there if you go from 1st to 20th, and that's where a lot of these guys are looking to, maybe make up some points here. 78 can be made up in one night, and that's kind of the night that Hayden Cardwell needs here if he wants to get back by Alex Bergeron.
100%, and that's why so many teams, and every time I speak to some of the drivers, they mention the importance of working on their qualifying speed in tacky race or tacky trim, so to speak, to be able to get a good qualifying run and get yourself track position for the heats. In turn, to make sure you can get those valuable heat points and the valuable feature points, because the better you start, the more likely you advance as long as you stay out of trouble. So it's going to be critical for these drivers once again tonight, especially at a track such as this, to have good qualifying pace to make sure you're in position for max heat and feature points.
And those points all add up to the end of the season, which will lead us right to our prizes. And $10,000 will be on the line here for this season. And, man, it's been a lot of fun to follow throughout the last couple of seasons. You saw Hayden Cardwell last year, or just this year, with the late models pick up the $10,000 win. And obviously Alex Bergeron has been dominating these sprint cars the last couple of years. He's got a couple of $10,000 checks sitting in his room. Second place in the championship, worth $5,000. You see it all the way down to 10th place, pays $300. So, and then you look over on the right side of the column there, $300 to win each race throughout this 10-race season. Second place will get $200, and third place $100. So, guys like Bergeron, Cardwell, and even Kendall Tucker, who's got quite a few top fives throughout the year. That money on the right side, the race winnings, and then if they can end up, up there in the championship, it's going to be a pretty good chunk of change come the end of the season here.
And a majority of your top 10 drivers, mind you, in the standings, are drivers who race in real life. From Alex Bergeron to his real sprint car program to the late model program that Hayden Cardwell takes part in. All these drivers, it adds up to be able to build your programs, get equipment, be able to maintain your cars. That's why, in part, so many drivers love to race in such this. We have a lot of real-world drivers who depend and really like to build upon good performances to make sure they're inside the top 10. So in other words, it all adds up throughout the entire season.
Let's take a look at the format here tonight. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. 4 heat races will be on tap, and each one will be 10 laps. The top 4 drivers, first, second, third, and fourth, will go straight on to tonight's, I believe, 35-lap feature event here tonight. Yeah, 35 laps. So top 4 out of each heat race. If you're not in the top 4, you'll go to one of the 2 B-main events here tonight, or the consolation races, which will be 12 laps long. And the top 2, just first and second place, will move to the back of the feature event. And then you see right there, 20 drivers, 35 laps. The caution laps do not count, so if there is a yellow on lap, like let's say lap number 5, while they are under caution, pacing will stay on lap 5 until we go back to green. So, pretty cutthroat, format here, Justin. I mean, 10 laps and only top 4 in, and then really the B main is where it really gets tough with 12 laps and then just 2 guys making it in.
Hence why the importance for qualifying, right? And for speed to make sure you're inside that top 4. But with this racetrack tonight, it could get a little bit crazy. We'll have to see how these drivers respond to a brand new circuit. The iRacing World of Outlaws NOS Drink Sprint Cars World Championship.
Well, let's take a look at the starting grid for our first heat race. It was Alex Bergeron, the quickest overall tonight in qualifying time trials. He'll be on the pole alongside the 41 car of Logan Rumsey. Run number 2 on the inside, the 74 car, that's Adam Elby. And outside of him in run number 2, the 17 car of Cameron Merriman. Run number 3 on the inside, good qualifying effort tonight for the 99 car of Greg Lamy. And on the outside is the 85 of Tyler Schell.
For Dustin Griffiths, he starts in 7th tonight. He's looking to try and move up in the last row along with Colton Hardy. Start in P8 in Race 1.
Well, here we go. Once again, 10 laps upcoming here in this first heat race of the night. And this is going to be exciting, man. I feel like this racetrack puts on some great races throughout the year. Whenever the World of Outlaws show up there in real life, they didn't go there last year, but the years prior they had gone to Weedsport Speedway, and it puts on such a great race. It's just a different style of racing, and I'm excited to see how that turns out here in the virtual world. As iRacing.com has done a great job scanning this racetrack. It's gotten a lot of praise from the drivers and from the members on the iRacing service. So really, really excited to see how this plays out here tonight, JP. And like you mentioned, man, it's a whole different way of racing. This track is so much different. It's super narrow. Both ends of the speedway, I feel like, are completely different.
Yeah, I've seen different lines come into play here as well for drivers. Some try and really work in a bit of the cushion in 1 and 2. Some prefer to ride right up next to the inside walls just about, especially in 3 and 4. It all is, again, about perspective and what driver preferences are and car preferences. And there's so many different lines, at least 3 different lines I would expect to see potentially pop up from end to end of the speedway, whether it's along that cushion around the racetrack trying to build up speed, whether it's along the inside wall, especially in 1 and 2, and sometimes 3 and 4, or whether it's trying to get the middle working, especially with how slick this track is expected to get tonight, right around that middle of the circuit in 3 and 4.
Well, and interestingly enough here, we've already got some drama brewing. The 41 car of Logan Rumsey does not make the grid. He was scheduled to start on the outside of the front row, so that's going to move up the entire outside line. That shoves the 17 car of Cameron Merriman up to the outside of the front row alongside the 12 of Alex Bergeron. Tyler Schell now is on row number 2, and then Colton Hardy is on row number 3. So we were supposed to start with 8. We'll start with 7 here in this first heat race of the night, as Logan Rumsey, who actually sat on the pole last week, or the last race, I should say, at the Lernerville Speedway. He was on the pole, led the first couple laps, and unfortunately has some kind of hardware issue here tonight there, JP, and we'll have to start from one of the B main events later on tonight.
That's very unfortunate for him. He's been having a good past couple weeks, and that's going to hurt for momentum as well as for starting position for that, because since he doesn't make the start, he would have to be at the back of the field for the B main, essentially, in your starting slot. So that's a double whammy, so to speak, for him.
No doubt about it, a double whammy there is, it doesn't matter how good you qualify. It matters where you finish at in that heat race. So Rumsey is going to be behind the A-ball all night long now as we get set to go for our first heat race here at the Weedsport Speedway with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. We are green off of turn number 4, and the 12 Alex Bergeron will jump out with the early race lead. The 17 of Merriman slots into second, then Tyler Schell third, and Adam Elvey currently in the fourth and final transfer spot.
Top 4 cars all single file to the bottom of the racetrack early on. Logan Rumsey does make it onto the racetrack. He is rolling, but he's going to be a bit behind the rest of the competitors by a full lap. Needs a little bit of luck to try and move on as Merriman tries to gain some time off turn 4, nearly plows into the wall.
And Merriman actually looks pretty good right now there, JP. He's keeping pace with the 12 of Alex Bergeron as they work down the back straightaway. The 12 of Bergeron doing a great job running the bottom of the speedway. As you can see, it's still really, really moist, still really hooked up. The track has a lot of speed still in it. But as this changes throughout the night, these guys at iRacing.com did a great job with the dynamic track surface. It'll start to get slick. The line will start to move around a lot. If you're first time watching here tonight, man, get ready for a great show as Merriman looks to try and track down the 12 of Bergeron once again.
A couple of the drivers I spoke with entering tonight's action mentioned that the importance to be able to adjust in the span of 10 laps with 8 cars per heat, give or take. In other words, it's going to be important to keep up with how much this track changes. For Alex Bergeron, he's the quickest car on the track by 5/1000 of a second. Tyler Schell still holds on to third. Adam Elvey holds on to the bubble spot at the moment by 0.3 of a second.
And wow, I'm really impressed right now with the 17 of Merriman. We've seen great speed out of him in the past, but he just never seems to have the luck to go along with it. And he's right there with Bergeron. And it's so important to win this first heat race if you can get it done there, JP. It lines you up on the pole of the 35-lap feature. Merriman knows it, but it's tough to track down a nearly 3-time series champion if he can do it again this year.
For Merriman, he was one of the quickest drivers in final open practice for tonight, was inside the top 5, in fact. Inside the 11.7s, but already this track has worked into the 12.2s for the white flag in heat race 1.
1 lap to go for the Team ABR, number 12 of Alex Bergeron. He'll work down the back straightaway one more time. Merriman follows, then Schell, then Elvey. Those 4 have been in the transfer spots this entire race as they come off of turn number 4. It will be Bergeron with the win in heat race number 1. Then Merriman, Schell, and Elvey. Those 4 will go straight to the feature event. Greg Lamy 5th, Colton Hardy in 6th, then Dustin Griffiths and Logan Rumsey will be 1 lap down after missing the grid here tonight in that first heat race. That'll set us up for our second heat race of the evening, and on the pole, driver currently 4th in the championship standings. He's from Mandurah, Western Australia, the number 98 car of Tim Ryan. On his outside, the 25 of Tyler Ducharme from Beaumessine, Vermont. Row 2 on the inside from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, the 27 car of Colton Davis. And outside him, it's the 37 of Zane Scott from Castalia, Ohio. Row 3 on the inside, the number 5 of Braden Eiler from Franklin, Pennsylvania. And the 21 of Shea Pallow from Brownsville, Indiana will start to his outside.
Starting in 7th spot tonight from Chatham-Kent, Ontario, it's Alex Smulders with Austin Settlement rounding out the grid tonight. He's based out of the state of Wisconsin.
8 drivers will make the grid here for this one. All 8 of them, unlike that first heat race, as the pace car pulls off from the front straightaway, and the drivers will follow suit. The 98 car of Tim Ryan, as I mentioned, comes in tonight 4th in the championship standings, and a ways back there from Alex Bergeron and Hayden Cardwell, who have really distanced themselves quite a bit here from the rest of the pack. As Cardwell, he's going to have the pressure on him here tonight there, JP, and he already does have the pressure on with Bergeron picking up that first heat race win.
Yeah, 100%, and he's going to need to be lockstep with him. Right now, based on the qualifying pace, he was quick and will likely be up towards the front for his respective heat. But the drivers I'm interested for this one is especially Tim Ryan, because he mentioned this on social media. He has not run any races here. When I mean that, I'm not talking about the series, I mean in general. No hosted races, no official races, nothing. In other words, for Tim Ryan, these are his first laps for race conditions against other drivers who are hungry for positions.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, he seems to know how to get around the place pretty good. Qualified 2nd tonight here. So Tim Ryan obviously showing that he is a former champion of the series, and showing it right now as he takes the lead off the start of the race here. He'll go off at turn number 2 and down the back straightaway with the race lead. And really here at this point there, JP, he doesn't need any laps around other drivers if you're out front the whole time. And Tim Ryan's starting to pull away from Tyler Ducharme.
And a great start for Tim Ryan, already leaned by 2-3 car lengths. Ducharme already up to the cushion. Drivers already working to the top line. Zane Scott, Coleman Davis also in that grouping. Keep an eye on Braden Eiler, though, in 5th position. Gains a car length through turns 3 and 4. 8 laps to go in heat race 2.
Eiler makes the move to the inside. The 37 bounces off the wall, and Zane Scott goes from 3rd to last there. In one corner as he bounced off the fence as Eiler makes the pass on Colton Davis. So Braden Eiler, who started 5th, is now up to 3rd.
And what a mistake for Zane Scott, getting squeezed up against the wall as well. For Brandon Eiler, he's up to 3rd. Coleman Davis holds on to 4th. Keep an eye, though, on Alex Motors as well. He's been quick throughout the week. He and Shea Powell trying to fight this changing track, all while Austin Sullivan tries to get through in the battle for 5th.
Jeff Smolders has got the 5th spot for now. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. Almost gets up alongside the 27 car of Colton Davis, but we might have a race for the lead brewing here between the 25 of Ducharme and the 98 of Tim Ryan as they work back into 3 and 4. Ducharme and Ryan only separated by a car length and a half, now making a car length down the front. Oh, and Ducharme hits the wall.
Up to a car length and a half, just like that, with the contact with 4 laps to go. Ducharme now moves to the middle of the racetrack. Tim Ryan moves back up to the cushion in 3 and 4. He slides to the very edge of the berm along those pit entries and exits along this racetrack. Big send for Ducharme, tries to get side by side.
Cannot do it quite yet, and Tim Ryan will hold serve, and he will have the race lead as they come around this time by to 2 laps to go. Ryan still with Ducharme. 3rd is Braden Eiler, and now a pass for 4th is Alex Smolders. He gets by the 27 of Colton Davis for the final transfer spot at turn number 2.
Closing stages of heat race 2 as Smolders holds on to the bubble spot now by 3 car lengths, up towards 2 now. Big run for Davis, coming off into turn 1 and 2. He hits the inside wall. He loses momentum. Smolders with a big run as Sullivan tries to catch up for 5th. Not going to be enough for the race lead, though. It's Tim Ryan who wins heat race 2.
And Ducharme nearly got there in time to steal the win off the final corner, but Tim Ryan, the 98 car, take the win in the 2nd heat race. Tyler Ducharme very close behind in 2nd, and then in 3rd it was Braden Eiler. Alex Smolders was your 4th and final transfer. Austin Selman came from 8th to 5th. Then Colton Davis, Zane Scott, and Shea Powell will round out the field in that 2nd heat race. Good stuff there as this track starts to widen out a little bit. We get set to go for our 3rd heat race of the night, and it's the 52 car of James Edens from Santa Rosa, California. He's on the pole alongside of Bakersfield, California's J.D. Brown. Row 2 on the inside. It's your third place driver in the point standings right now. The 00 of Kendall Tucker from Mount Airy, North Carolina. Outside of him, starting from the 4th spot, it's the number 1 X car of Mason Hannigan from Pittsboro, Indiana. And starting on the inside of the 3rd row, car number 3, it's Lewis Hewitt from Adelaide, South Australia. And the 915 of Ryan Mayer. He'll start 6th here in this one.
7th spot to close out the grid for heat race number 3 tonight. It will be Anthony Job. Anthony Job, based out of Brownsville, Indiana, for Elbows Up Simsport.
So 7 drivers will make the call here for this 3rd heat race of the night. Once again, 10 laps, top 4 finishers go straight to the feature event. And man, James Edens, a great qualifying effort here tonight, but it has not been like that all season long there, JP. Only 1 top 5 on the season here for that 52 car after, I believe, what was he, 3rd in points last season with a couple of wins. It just hasn't really been out the way he's wanted it this year.
Yeah, it's just the luck hasn't gone his way. He's been involved in some incidents here and there. He has also been at many times stuck rowing the battle for about 7th or 8th position, usually in the feature races. But for tonight, this is a chance to try and turn things around, to gain some momentum, to try and lock yourself for sure into the top 10 in points. That's kind of having to be the mantra for many of the drivers. As well, you can say the same thing for JD Brown on the outside. Remember, he is in 15th in the points entering tonight. For JD Hollywood Brown, it's been a stellar past couple weeks where he's been gaining more and more confidence as the weeks have gone on.
Yeah, J.D. Brown been really impressive. He's more of a late model guy, but he made the jump to sprint cars this year, and it's paying off for him right now as James Edens gets a great start, as does his teammate Kendall Tucker. Tucker gets by J.D. Brown. Brown gets shot from behind from the 1X of Mason Hannigan. Brown goes from 2nd to 4th on the first lap, so not a good opening lap there for the 14.
Big slider from Lewis Hewitt up in front of him as Mason Hannigan moves to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to fight for the bubble as Job tries to work on the high side of Ryan Mayer, 2x2. Lewis Hewitt still defends them as J.D. Brown gets a huge amount of momentum. Change for the race lead. James Edens and Kendall Tucker going back and forth.
Now Tucker hits the bottom off of turn number 2. He'll pull up alongside the K1 Race Gear 52 car down the back straightaway. Kendall Tucker to the race lead, but James Edens back to the inside off of turn number 4. Great back and forth action here at the front of the field between two teammates, the Swindell Speed Lab drivers, Edens and Tucker, putting on a show at the front right now.
Meanwhile, the Slick Sim Sport driver J.D. Brown still trying to hold off several cars for the bubble spots. Lewis Hewitt trying to hold on to the top line for the battle for 4th. Mason Hannigan, the Little Hurricane, trying to hold on to the bottom line, all while the top 2 have checked out by more than a second. Halfway this time, Swindell Speed Lab machines pull off and away as it's still side by side for 4th.
Mason Hannigan trying to get by Lewis Hewitt. Hewitt's on the top of the racetrack. He has it, but now Hannigan gets a good bind off the bottom of the racetrack at turn number 2, and Hannigan's going to take 4th right back, but Hewitt with a big run around the outside at turn number 4. He'll take the 4th spot right back. Good stuff. Here's Hannigan, hits the inside wall right there.
Hannigan didn't feel quite confident on the pace. Felt like he and Griffiths were going to be a part, jokingly, of a last road challenge for tonight. It's not been that case. Both cars have been quick throughout practice this evening, but Hannigan, he scrapes the wall yet again. Better run, though, down the back straightaway. He goes for the slider in turn 3, tries to park it in front of Hewitt. Hewitt crosses him up, takes away the bubble spot with 2 to go.
Good stuff for 4th. 2 laps to go, as Justin mentioned. Lewis Hewitt's got the transfer spot. Mason Hannigan trying to fight back on the inside of the racetrack. Now they go both back to the top of the racetrack in 3 and 4. The white flag's out. Hannigan gets an incredible corner right there. He'll look to the inside of turn number 1. I thought he was going to throw the slider right there, Justin. Oh, and Hewitt's off the fence right there, and that's going to give it up right there.
Major mistake for Lewis Hewitt. For James Edens, a clean run, finishes first by 2 to 3/10 over Kendall Tucker. J.D. Brown, Mason Hannigan moves on once again with another clean run to move his way into the show.
Wow, and Lewis Hewitt's going to be very disappointed with that maneuver right there as he clipped the outside wall in the last corner. He'll end up in 5th and head off to a B-main event, followed by Ryan Mayer and Anthony Job. Those 7 drivers were the finishers right there in heat race number 3. Let's get ready for our final heat race of the night. And on the pole, it is the driver currently 2nd in the point standings, the 22 car of Hayden Cardwell from Knoxville, Tennessee. And on the outside, the 10K Rusty Kruger. He hails from Loomis, California. Row 2 on the inside, it's Waterloo, New York's Nick Cooper in the 35. And outside of him, the number 2 car of Daniel Gow. Row 3 on the inside, the 56 of Brett Wheeler from Sydney, Australia, and the 71 of Cole Cabry from Tampa, Florida.
Rounding out the drivers on heat race number 4's grid, it's Joshua Steinke from Plymouth, Wisconsin in the Black Diamond Motorsports machine.
7 drivers once again for our final heat race of the night before we get into our LCQs. And really, Hayden Cardwell has got to perform right here there, JP. Obviously, Bergeron got the win in his heat race. Tucker, he almost got the win in that last heat race, but ended up 2nd. So Cardwell really needs to win this heat race right here. And judging by some of the drivers that are in this heat race, I don't think Cardwell's going to really struggle too bad. I think his main competition right here is the 35 of Nick Cooper.
I think more so Rusty Kruger, too, you can put in that grouping, because Kruger was the quickest in final open practice, to the point where, for those who do not know on social media, do post around with the practice times, he wanted to be at the top of the board for a reason. He's been quick throughout the week. He's been looking confident around this racetrack. I think he's going to try and keep Hayden Cardwell busy at the start of this run. That's going to be the major key thing. I'm also curious about how Cole Cabry does, to see if he can move himself into a bubble spot. He's starting in 6th position.
Yeah, Cole Cabrey, always fun to watch when he starts at the back of one of these heat races or even the feature event as we get ready to go for our final heat race of the night. Cardwell is on the gas, and he will pull out with the race lead. And as I mentioned, the 35 and Nick Cooper already trying to make moves. He's underneath the Rusty Kruger for second down the back straightaway. The 35 will nose ahead of the 10K back into turn 3.
Kruger, though, trying to keep the momentum up on the high line as the big slide from behind. Daniel Gao contact 3 wide in the battle for 5th position. They keep it clean for now. Nick Cooper, though, gets clear for second. Daniel Gao now tries to join the 3-car fight for second. They pull away from the bubble spots as Joshua Steinke trying to close up a 5-car length gap to these 3.
And you see those 3, second, third, and fourth, all on the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Meanwhile, your race leader, it's the 22 of Hayden Cardwell. He's up on the top of the racetrack, trying to go where nobody else is at here in this heat race. And it's working right now. The last time by, Cardwell with a 13.293. Nick Cooper, the 13.573. So the 22 car, my goodness, Cardwell pulling away with this one.
Cardwell looking really quick on the cushion, especially. The top line is his happy place when it comes to his sim racing career. He's been dominant up there, and he's using the diamond line. For Nick Cooper, he's trying to get the bottom to middle lines working. Kruger up to the cushion. Gao tries to go for the slide. Makes contact with Steinke for the bubble. Steinke up in the wall. Steinke with damages. Driving on by is Cole Cabrey.
Cabrey's going to make it by, but contact between Gao and the 80 of Steinke, so Steinke gets the worst end of that deal. He falls back to 6th. Meanwhile, Gao is still in the bubble spot in 4th and looking to make the feature event, but the race for second is not over yet between the 35 of Nick Cooper and the 10K of Rusty Kruger. Those drivers make their way through 3 and 4, 1 on the bottom and 1 on the top as they come off of 4.
4 starting positions on the line, essentially, for the feature race. If they can try and hold things on. Kruger, and with a good boost of speed off of turn 2, gives the squeeze. Cooper goes for the slide in the middle line, goes down to the bottom in 3 and 4. Better toe down the front straightaway as he weeble wobbles. Kruger back and forth, 2 to go this time. All while Gao tries to watch along from the back.
Rusty Kruger trying to take the Jake Swanson shock technology, number 10K, up to the second place position at the line, though. It will be given to the 35 of Nick Cooper. White flag is in the air. Now Kruger is going to go to the inside of the racetrack. He's going to try and go by down the back straightaway one more time through 3 and 4. Cardwell will get the win second at the line. It's going to go to Nick Cooper by just a nose over the 10K of Rusty Kruger. He'll end up in 3rd. 4th will go to Daniel Gao. 5th to Cole Cabrey. 6th will go to the 80 car of Joshua Steinke. And in 7th, it was the 56X car of Brett Wheeler. But great stuff there from second on back. But it was Hayden Cardwell dominating that final heat race as we get set to go for our first of 2 B main events. On the pole, the 99 car of Greg Lamy. And outside of him, the number 3 car of Lewis Hewitt. A pair of Australians right there on the front row. Row number 2, the 34 of Colton Hardy. And outside of him is the 915 of Ryan Mayer. 3rd row, the 9 of Dustin Griffiths, and the 91 car of Anthony Job will start 6th.
In the 7th position, the last position for this B main, it's the car to watch for this one. Remember Logan Rumsey? He's going to have the shot to start in 7th. He's based out of Manchester, Pennsylvania for Slick Sim Sport.
And wow, Rumsey's got some work. Obviously, if you didn't see earlier on, he was in the first heat race. He was supposed to start on the outside of the front row, and Rumsey had some kind of hardware issue or a computer problem. Did not make the grid and ended up finishing dead last in the heat race. That's why you see him way back there, starting 7th in this one. We're only taking the top 2, so Rumsey has got his work cut out for him. We talked about earlier, man, he is a great driver in this series there, JP. He started on the pole of the last race at Lernerville Speedway, led a few laps, got caught up in an incident, so the 41's going to be fun to watch in this one.
I think so, absolutely. I'm curious who gets the second spot as well, because Hewitt, he had a great shot at moving into a transfer spot if it wasn't for the fact he made contact with the wall in turn 2. Everyone else, I think we haven't seen the full potential from some of these drivers where they were being a little bit more patient, waiting for this track to work in towards their strengths, in slicking up especially. And now we're going to really start to see those drivers move up through the field who are confident. Well, it could be crazy for the battle, especially for the bubble spots in this one.
Well, the pace car is ready to pull off. Who will be the top 2 out of this first B main event? Greg Lamy, Lewis Hewitt. The top 2 as they come across the start-finish line. Lamy will have the advantage entering the first corner. Colton Hardy already going to work on Lewis Hewitt. This race is only 12 laps, JP. You cannot waste any time here. Colton Hardy knows that they're already trying to go 3 wide for the lead.
Lamy already hit from the back end. Lewis Hewitt gets bounced around. Contact to the back of the field. Rumsey spins around. He's been hit as they're side by side for the race lead. Lamy and Hardy. Hardy takes the race lead down the backstretch. Mayer back and forth now with Anthony Job.
And now a bad night gets worse there for Logan Rumsey. He gets stuck up on the lid. His night will come to an end. We'll see him next week at the Cedar Lake Speedway. But up front, it is the 34 car of Colton Hardy showing the way over the 99 of Greg Lehman. But here comes the 915 of Ryan Mayer and the 91 of Anthony Job. A three-car race for the second spot down the front straightaway.
Massive squeeze from Lamy down the straightaway as Mayer moves up the top line. The purple and black machine from Asylum able to make the move. Up to the cushion goes everyone now. Several purple cars all looking to try and say they're the best of the purple cars, all led by Colton Hardy with 8 laps to go.
And Hardy's in trouble. The 915 of Ryan Mayer's got something figured out right now that the 34 has no idea what's going on. Mayer is pushing him around the racetrack. They'll come around this time by 6 complete and 6 to go. Hardy runs the bottom, Mayer on the top side, and look at that momentum he gets off the corner right there. Ryan Mayer has got something working really, really nice in that 915 car on the top of the racetrack.
He and Hardy are near identical on lap times at the moment, halfway through the first consolation race to try and move on to the feature. Different line taken by Hardy, going defensive to the bottom line. Up to the cushion in 3 and 4 once more. They pull 3 more car length this lap. Mayer, though, wants the lead. 5 laps to go. To the inside goes Hardy.
How much does he push it, though, JP? He's got about 10 car lengths back to the 99 car of Greg Lamy. And we remember only 2 of them will transfer on. Not really any sense in pushing it too hard here and maybe costing yourself a position. Lamy's driving the wheels off that car. Oh, and Mayer just tagged the wall right there and nearly got himself in trouble as he continues on in second. But Lamy and Job are right there behind these two guys if any contact happens. Oh,
and
there
a bit
it
of contact. There it is right there. Contact as Mayer gets hit. Lamy moves up to second. Here comes Anthony Job up to third. He slides in the middle of the line. Ryan Mayer with a big mistake in the back, contact with Colton Hardy side by side for the bubble. Lamy nearly spins it as Job up to second spot with 2 to go.
And just when we thought he was out of this thing, Lewis Hewitt is now right back in the thick of things. They're 2 by 2, second, third, fourth, and fifth. They'll come off the fourth corner. They'll come to the white flag. Oh, contact down the straightaway. That puts Mayer into the fence as they go down the back straightaway for the final time. Who's going to be the top 2? It looks like Hardy will come through 3 and 4 with the win in this first LCQ, and Anthony Job is going to come off in turn number 4 with the second spot. What a race in that one there, JP.
Absolutely, and it started with a little mistake for Ryan Mayer with that contact to the outside wall, then compounded with a big mistake, and then compounded to craziness. That's what happens when, if you feel there's a chance of moving on, you have to make sure you stay completely focused. If you think you're in a good position, one little mistake can put you in Ryan Mayer's shoes.
Yeah, tough break for Mayer, as well as Lewis Hewitt, who looked like he was coming on strong there towards the end of that one. But we get ready for our second B-Main, our final consolation race before the feature event here tonight. And on the pole, it's the 18 of Austin Selman. Outside of him, the 71 car of Cole Cabry. Row 2, the 27 of Colton Davis. And outside of him, the 80 of Joshua Steinke. Row 3, the 37 of Zane Scott. And outside of him, the 56X car of Brett Wheeler.
And for California, Shea Powell round out the 7 cars in the final LCQ with a chance to move on here. Keeping an eye on Powell. He was the driver who mentioned a lot where Weedsport and Cedar Lake seem to be the 2 fastest tracks to get black slick, as in really slickened up, than all the other tracks in the iRacing service on the dirt side. That he felt was the X factor tonight, and guess what? It's really slickened up for this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think the guy you need to watch for in this one is the 37 car of Zane Scott, as he was looking really quick in his heat race earlier on, but ended up clipping the wall off of turn 2 and cost himself a transfer spot. So the 37, he's going to have to pass at least 1 car here if he wants to make it into the feature event. It looks like the 18 of Selman didn't make the grid there, JP.
Yes, indeed. Might have had a technical issue himself as well, and that's going to be big for the point standings a little bit as well. He needed a strong run tonight. So now, it gets interesting for who moves on here, though, because Steinke, we've seen him charging up, approached a bubble spot, had contact with the outside wall after a car slid up towards his left side tires. Cole Cabry, he was in the mix for his respective heat race. Colton Davis was in the mix for a majority of his heat. Zane Scott was in a transfer spot before he destroyed his suspension with the right side wall. And you've got a couple drivers towards the back who need valuable points to try and get themselves towards the top 15. In other words, again, pressure is on among these drivers to get inside that top 2 to have a shot at getting as many points as they can in the feature.
And with Austin Selman dropping connection there and not making the grid, that's going to really open up a spot here in this one. It looked like he might have been one of those guys who could maybe guarantee a spot out of this thing, but not anymore. Colton Davis and Cole Cabrey will lead the field off the corner. The second LCQ is green. Wow, a little bit of a rough start there for Colton Davis as he gets into the side of Cole Cabrey. Zane Scott bounces off the inside wall, and he loses the third spot off in turn number 2.
Colton Davis up to the cushion. Cole Cabrey nearly smacks the inside wall. 4 different drivers to the bottom. Steinke shoots it up the middle. He moves up to second. Cole Cabrey now moves back to the bottom line as Zane Scott moves up to the cushion. 2 by 2 down the back nearly.
Oh, this is going to be good. I can already feel it's still a lot of laps to go here in this second LCQ. 3 wide for the race lead off the corner right there as Austin Selman makes his way back onto the racetrack, but he's nearly a full lap behind the field. Stanky takes the lead, but here comes the 27 Davis back to the inside turn 3.
Steinke with a bit of a squeeze now as Colton Davis tries to go wheel to wheel, nearly makes contact. This time they do! Huge hit into turn 1. Steinke holds on to it. 3 wide now for second, back to 2 wide as Cabrey makes the shooting up to the inside.
Somebody get him a gold medal. Joshua Steinke, how he held onto that race car, I have no idea as he falls back to third, but he's definitely not out of this thing, and now he is at the 37 as Scott got into him. He hangs onto it again. Steinke is on the wheel right now, Justin.
What a move and what a save from Steinke, but how is that car going to react after that major contact is the big question. Needs to close up 2 car lengths. The battle is on now for the B main lead. Cabrey to the inside of Colton Davis, all while the fight for third heats up. Davis with the squeeze, he backs off the gas. Colton Davis trying to hold on to the middle line still as Cabrey still stuck on the top line. Halfway as Scott is in the wall.
Cole Cabrey's found the bottom of the racetrack there, Justin. He's up to the race lead. The 27 of Davis trying to cut back out on the outside. They're still side by side for the top spot across the line. 4 laps to go that time by. The 80 of Steinke, I should say, he's not out of this race quite yet, and he's tracking these guys down. The last time by, he was 2/10 faster than Colton Davis.
Colton Davis trying to give a little bit of a squeeze, backs off the gas once again, goes back single file, tries to reset. Steinke trying to catch up to the grouping. He was the fastest car on the track last time by with the fastest lap of 13.992. That is already more than nearly 2/10 seconds, total seconds of fall throughout this race. Now for Steinke to the inside for second. Davis with a better pull down the back.
Steinke gets a little bit sideways off the second corner, loses a little bit of ground, but not enough to take him out of this race. The 27 of Colton Davis is feeling the pressure as the 80 car of Steinke, who's been through hell and back here in this one. He got turned twice. He's up to second off the turn number 2, and down the back straight. Steinke has done the impossible, Justin. I thought he was out of this race 2 different times. He's up to second as he gets by Colton Davis down the front straightaway. Oh, and he chops the nose in turn 1.
White flag is out, final lap. Colton Davis has one last shot to try and make the move back. Steinke taps the wall. Davis tries to push up. Steinke gives the squeeze. Cole Cabrey wins the B main, but it's Steinke who moves on. He holds on, and a close battle with Colton Davis.
Wow, Joshua Steinke just made some serious fans right there after that one. It looked like he was down, but he was not out as he got turned from behind on several occasions in that one, but held on to it. Cabrey with the win, Steinke in second, then Colton Davis, Shea Pallow, Zane Scott, Austin Selman, and Brett Wheeler, the 7 drivers in that one. And with that, we are ready for feature action here at the Weedsport Speedway for round number 6 of the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series here on DirtVision.com. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Every race live. The greatest shows on dirt from coast to coast, and now worldwide for only $39 a month. Watch the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Models, and the Dirt Car Summer Nationals Hell Tour with one Fast Pass for only $39. Now, catch the greatest racing action down under with sprint cars, late models, and midgets from iconic Australian venues all year long. Live. Hundreds of races. One Fast Pass. $39 a month. DirtVision.com. Subscribe today.
Welcome back to the virtual Weedsport Speedway. It is feature racing time here in the state of New York for round number 6 of the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars World Championship here on iRacing.com. Thank you for joining us on DirtVision.com. My name is Chase Rodman alongside of Justin Prince. And Justin, man, those B-mains were getting really exciting, but a complete track reset here for these drivers. They are getting a 5-minute hot lap session right now to burn the racetrack in. And man, oh man, this should be a really, really exciting race as we saw in those 2 B-mains there.
We've seen how much the track was able to adjust and the drivers and their ability to try very different lines. Some getting the middle line to work, some using the very bottom line, some all the way up to the cushion. It's going to be very entertaining to see which drivers coming on top tonight and which drivers' preferences come into play the most this evening, because it's all about the drivers' conditions. And it's down to, as well, how the drivers work in the track as well to how it could race for the feature race. It's going to be exciting to see who takes home the feature race tonight, especially with some of the quickest drivers of all this season up towards the front.
Absolutely, and you think about the championship standings, Alex Bergeron came in tonight with a 2-point lead over Hayden Cardwell. If you've joined us throughout this whole broadcast, you know that there are points given out throughout the heat races, but since Bergeron and Cardwell both won their heat races, they continue to be 2 points separated coming into this feature event. And I'm not going to lie to you, Justin, I feel like this is the closest championship battle in the sprint cars come race number 6 that we've had in at least 2 seasons, I'd say.
I believe you're right on that as well, with how intense it's been and how close it has been. Take a look at the live points with the heat race victories for Cardwell as well as for Bergeron. It is still lockstep, 2 points apiece. They actually gained some ground as a result for Kendall Tucker. But look at that for Tim Ryan. He has a chance to move himself into 3rd place with a good run tonight. All it takes is a couple positions gained. As well, drivers like Eiler, if they get good runs tonight, can shoot up the boards, as well as James Edens and several others who have carried a lot of momentum of late. I'm excited to see which drivers are going to be able to adjust themselves, especially around the middle of that standings. And as well, who's going to be able to get some distance in the points, or if it's going to get even more tighter after this one.
Yeah, if it can get tighter, that's going to be pretty impressive. That would mean Hayden Cardwell would have to beat Alex Bergeron by 1 point, and then I think they'd be almost tied if they came out like that. So this is going to be really, really fun to watch. 2 world championships, or two world champions already proven that they can do it. Bergeron and Cardwell duking it out here for the rest of the season. Is going to be so much fun to watch. And the next race we go to, man, the brand new Cedar Lake Speedway is going to be super, super interesting as well. Well, the hot lap session is over. As you take a look at the schedule right there, Cedar Lake Speedway in 2 weeks. We're off next Monday night. Then we go to Kokomo Speedway, Williams Grove, and the dirt track at Charlotte to cap it all off. But we are ready for the feature lineup here tonight at the Weedsport Speedway for the 6th round of the iRacing.com World of Outlaws and NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Here's how they'll line up here tonight. On the pole from Drummondville, Quebec, Canada, car number 12, it's Alex Bergeron. And on the outside of him, the number 98 car of Tim Ryan from Mandurah, Western Australia. Row 2 on the inside from Santa Rosa, California, the 52 car for Swindell Speed Live Esports, it's James Edens. And outside of him, the number 22 car from Knoxville, Tennessee, Hayden Cardwell. Row 3 on the inside, the 17 of Cameron Merriman. And outside of him from Beaumessine, Vermont, the 25 of Tyler Ducharme.
For Kendall Tucker, he starts in 7th tonight, based out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, while Nick Cooper from New York State starts in 8th position. Tower Shell starts in row 5 alongside his teammate from Elbows Up Simsport, Braden Eiler, while J.D. Hollywood Brown will start on the inside of row 6 from Bakersfield, California. For Rusty Kruger, he starts the outside of row 6. He carried good momentum in his heat race. He's from Loomis, California.
Starting 13th here tonight, the number 74 car from Tracy, California. Drivers for Swindell Speed Lab Esports, it's Adam Elby. And on the outside of him, the 211 of Alex Smolders from Merlin, Ontario, Canada. Run number 8 on the inside, it's the number 1X car of Mason Hannigan. He's from Pittsburgh, Indiana. And on the outside of him, the car number 2 of Daniel Gow. Run number 9 on the inside, the 34 car of Colton Hardy. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. And on the outside of him, starting 18th here tonight, the 71 of Cole Cabry from Tampa, Florida.
Rounding out your drivers in the field tonight, Anthony Job from Brownsville, Indiana. He'll start alongside Joshua Steinke, the last of the drivers to advance into tonight's feature race, once again from Plymouth, Wisconsin.
35 laps around the all-new Weedsport Speedway. The first time the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint cars on iRacing have visited this racetrack. And on the front row, the only 2 drivers in the history of the series to be able to win a title. The 12 of Bergeron and the original champion, the 98 car of Tim Ryan. In his first ever race, apparently, here at the Weedsport Speedway, will start from second. As they work down the back straightaway, the pace truck will pull off the speedway off of turn number 4 this time by. And we are just about ready to go for the first time in series history. We are about to go green from the Weedsport Speedway 35 times around. We are underway, and a great a great start up front here between the 12 and the 98 as they go into turn 1.
Bergeron trying to get himself clear already as a big boost of speed from Cardwell. Contact behind. One car spins around. It's Kendall Tucker. Caution flag quickly out. The 00 spins around, and they're still wrecking in turn 3.
Oh, wow. Kendall Tucker, who was currently 3rd in the point standings, gets turned around. We'll take a look at the iRacing.com replay right here. You see Tucker on the bottom right there, gets into it, Tyler Ducharme, and it just kind of sucks him around and hits the inside wall. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of damage to his race car there, Justin, but man, he has got a long road to hoe now as he goes all the way back to 20th place, if I'm not mistaken here. And obviously that's a huge deal because he's 3rd in the points.
Yes, indeed, and you see that pinball effect right there. The second of the drivers got pinballed was Braden Eiler in the check-up effect in turn 3. You see that right there with some of the drivers bouncing around as they tried to slow up. So, most of the drivers with some effect as they wait for the iRacing pace truck and regather things. Keep in mind, you've seen it. They were 3 wide for the race lead at the time of the caution flag.
I was going to say, man, I looked up and they were 3 wide for the lead, but the yellow was out. It looked like Cardwell had made a big move through the middle of the racetrack there in 3 and 4 and was up alongside of Bergeron and Ryan. So I think that track reset and then that 5-minute hot lap session has got this track right where it was at, I feel like, right after those B-mains, maybe a little bit fresher than that. And that means we're going to see some really good racing. So don't fret, though, ladies and gentlemen. A caution on lap 1 does not mean we're going to lose any laps there, Justin, because obviously no caution laps count. We're going to stay on lap 1, number 1. We still have 34 to go. And, wow, we only went a half lap there, and things were looking pretty exciting.
Yeah, and that was to be expected, right, with the nature of this racetrack. But still, they get to re-rack them and stack them once again to see how these drivers will fare out once more. The lights are out on top of the iRacing safety truck. And now this is going to be where Bergeron's essentially in control of the field here, up on the cushion to try and lay out the groundwork, to try and get some distance on the rest of the pack here. That was why it was so important at that moment of the caution flag to try and get to the scoring loops to make sure you were the race leader in control of this pack.
And it's a single file restart here for the number 12 car of Alex Bergeron, then Tim Ryan, James Edens, Hayden Cardwell, and Cameron Merriman as they work back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, and Bergeron goes straight to the bottom of the racetrack. Tim Ryan to the top, James Edens to the bottom of the speedway. He's trying to look for second as they work down the back straightaway.
Down to the inside, James Edens trying to rip away second, while Tim Ryan trying to rip the top. Big boost from Bergeron, separated by 2 car lengths. He goes to his happy place to the middle bottom lines as Tim Ryan hits the wall. Here comes Hayden Cardwell, 3 wide down the back straightaway for second. Edens trying to get clear. Cardwell trying to slide job Tim Ryan. Ryan with the cross can't clear. Nearly hits Edens. Hits the back of the Cardwell instead as Cardwell up to second.
Holy cow, what a lap there as Hayden Cardwell goes from 4th up to 2nd. But now he was messing around with those guys for too long. Look how much distance he lost to the 12 of Bergeron. And now Cardwell still not out of the water here yet. The 52 car of Edens fighting back with him. James Edens, who has not had the season he has wanted, has not been on the podium. He's only had 1 top 5 finish on the year. He is trying to have a good run here tonight, but Hayden Cardwell is starting to pull away from him now.
Spell as contact as Merriman and Tim Ryan make contact down the straightaway. Ryan now getting shuffled around and bounced around all the way from the front row to 6th as Tyler Ducharme takes away a spot. He is now in the up of the cushion with Tyler Schell, JD Brown, and Rusty Kruger trying to regather himself.
Hayden Cardwell has been the fastest car on the racetrack the last few laps. Oh, Cardwell hit the wall right there through 3 and 4, and that's going to lose him a little bit of ground. But I think when it comes to, hitting the top of the racetrack, running the cushion, the 22 car, there's no doubt in my mind he's probably the best on the iRacing service with the 12 of Bergeron. He's good at it too there, JP, but he's super consistent. And as you saw there, Cardwell hit the wall, and you cannot do that and be able to track him down here. So there's already a couple lap cars up ahead.
Yes, indeed. Some of those drivers include Braden Iwer, who was involved in that pinball effect we talked about. That could somewhat play a factor for tonight, depending on where some of these cars reach each other. But the lead cars preferring the cushion in 3 and 4 right now, trying to slide from the bottom up to the top in 1 and 2 to try and carry as much momentum as they can. Cardwell was the quickest last time by a couple car lengths. Braden Iwer pulls off the racetrack and moves out of the way for the lead pack.
Tyler Ducharme makes the pass for 4th. He'll get by Cameron Merriman off of turn number 4, so move the 25 car. The driver out of Vermont up there in the Northeast. He's up to P4 and looking to track down the 52 car, James Edens. Ducharme with some speed here midway through this race. If he can get a caution, he might be able to contend with those top 2 drivers.
Possibly. He's been getting quicker and quicker each week. He's been a top 5 contender for some times throughout the season, especially in the early portions of some of these races. Tyler Ducharme as well in that grouping, trying to get clear, and does. He's up to 4th. He's talked about in the past, though, needing to improve on the long runs in these types of races.
And this is a 3-car battle going on between the 25, the 17, and the 85 of Tyler Schell. He's also there as well, as Merriman tried to make the move off of turn number 4, got a little bit squirrely off the corner, and now he'll go back to the top of the racetrack. Meanwhile, the 85 of Schell, way down there on the inside of the speedway, he's trying to crack into the top 5 if he can get by the 17 of Merriman.
Merriman trying to hold on still as they all bounce around on the bumps down the front straightaway. Here comes Tyler Schell, though. Tries to dive in a little bit off the turn 2. Merriman nearly smacks the fence with a big right rear tire up towards the top line. Goes Schell a little bit further from the cushion this time. Big boost for Ducharme. He's able to gain some distance. The leaders, by the way, have reached more lap traffic. Kendall Tucker among the drivers. They are in risk of lapping, all while Tim Ryan tries to hold off that big pack still.
And I'm telling you right now, Hayden Cardwell has been the fastest car on the racetrack at least the last 10 laps, and he is cut into the lead of Alex Bergeron. Oh, we got one car off the racetrack right in front of your leaders. A close call there. But as I mentioned there, Cardwell continuously the fastest car on the racetrack. That time by, as I say it, the 12 of Bergeron was better. But as you can see, Cardwell has definitely cut into the lead a little bit, Justin.
Yes, he's been quickly cutting through whenever he's got some clean track and no mistakes by about a 10th or 2 a lap. Trouble is Tim Ryan and Rusty Kruger have made contact. They have lost several positions. Cole Cabry among the drivers forced to check up. That big pack now really shuffled apart. JD Brown was the car behind right before that.
And if we can stay green here, these drivers will get to lap traffic. The next one they will encounter, as Justin mentioned, is the 00 car of Kendall Tucker, who is currently 3rd in the point standings as we take a look at the battle here between Kruger, Hannigan, Ryan, Adam Elby's there as well. They're side by side. That's all for around the 10th position.
The reason they're all checked up, by the way, there was Tim Ryan hit the inside wall in turn 1 and 2 and spun down towards the bottom of the track. Caution flag, though, is out, and this is going to re-rack him and stack him.
I believe the caution was for, if I can see, Colton Hardy, the 34 car, was getting together with the 71 of Cole Cabry off the 4th corner. Here's the replay right here, Justin.
Yes, indeed, and he hits the wall. Simple as that. By race car, Anthony Job gets some damage as well to the front end of his race car. So that's some of the mistakes you had to try and limit, right? And that keeps Kendall Tucker on the lead lap as a result.
Wow, that's a huge moment right there for the 00 car. If he can maybe get something going here in the last 15 or so laps. But wow, Cardwell was within a half second there. I think he did not want to see a yellow right there. The 22 car was definitely, as I mentioned several times, he was cutting into the lead, and he was down to 0.4 of a second. But that yellow, obviously, will bring him back together. But I feel like when he got into that dirty air, Alex Bergeron was just a little bit slower than Cardwell. But now we're going to really see what the 25 of Ducharme can do as he'll restart back at 5th.
I'm curious about that as well, especially if you can keep up momentum as the track is really slicking up. You can see how much black slick is starting to build up and dark brown slickness is starting to build up with some of the moisture and some of the various different marbles around the racetrack, especially up on the cushion a little bit. I think for Hayden Cardwell, though, He's going to need a series of good laps to try and set things up. I think he needs at least 5 or 6 in a row before he can really start to try and set up a slide job battle to try and take over the race lead.
Yeah, and I think the only way he's going to be able to make the pass has got to happen in 3 and 4. Bergeron has been committed to that slider line down there in 1 and 2. Pace cars off. Let's see what happens here. 14 laps to go from Weedsport Speedway, and a pretty good restart right there for the 22 Cardwell. He'll go straight to the top in 1 and 2. That'll give him a big run down the back straightaway here, Justin. Does he try and make a move here in the 3 and 4?
Yes, he does. Big boost, trying to go for the slide job. Now starts the slide job battle. Back and forth with Bergeron. You're 3 wide for third. Cardwell goes bottom. Bergeron goes to defend. Big boost as Cardwell nearly hits the back end of Bergeron's car. Bergeron trying to hunt the inside wall. Taps the inside wall. Cardwell makes the move. Hayden Cardwell to the lead with 12 to go.
Cardwell slams through the door right there. Now Edens comes to call. He'll work to the outside of Bergeron. James Edens trying to go right for second on the top of the racetrack. Down into 3 and 4. Now Bergeron has to go on the attack. He's been on the defense this entire race, and now he's got 3 cars right behind him. James Edens, Cameron Merriman, and the 25 at Ducharme. As it looked like Bergeron was going to cruise off for another victory, he might lose the third, or at least second spot here, Justin.
And this is going to be very hard to defend, trying to hug that inside wall. It was the line that a few weeks back in events that was able to work. Bit of contact behind Merriman, hit by the back end of James Edens. Currently losing time though is Bergeron. J.D. Brown able to pass by Tyler Shaw in the backdrop as these cars all scrap with 9 laps to go.
And Hayden Cardwell has done it. He has taken the race lead away with 8 laps to go. That time by contact for the lead. They both wreck off the corner. Somehow they keep going. They both get hit by other cars. And your race leader is the 17 of Merriman. What just happened?
What a massive, massive mistake there as Bergeron hit the back of the Cardwell after Cardwell over-rotated through the corner. Bergeron is now back to 4th, Cardwell back to 6th. Tempers are flaring as they fight 2-3 wide with Tyler Shaw. It's Cameron Merriman who is now in the race lead with 7 to go with a chance to break through in the 17. He hugs the bottom while Bergeron smashes into the top wall.
My goodness, Cameron Merriman looking to come out of that one, smelling like a rose as he comes by that time by 5 laps to go for Cameron Merriman in search of his first ever World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series win. He'll work the bottom through 3 and 4. 4 laps to go for the 17. He was in the catbird seat right there, and he took full advantage of it there a couple laps ago.
And now James Edens is really starting to push too. He sees an opportunity to break through for his first feature win of the season. He's really trying to push hard into the corners. Both of them run to the bottom line and with 4 laps to go. Currently the gap, just 0.6 of a second. Merriman really trying to play defensive in 1 and 2.
And look at this battle for the 3rd spot. Bergeron to the top side of Ducharme. But here Cardwell through the middle of the speedway. Cardwell going to drive it in deep. He's going to try and throw a slider on Bergeron. Contact off the corner. Bergeron gets put in the fence. He'll lose another spot to Tyler Shell. But your championship contenders, they've got the gloves off here tonight at Weedsport.
Tyler Ducharme currently in position to potentially lead after tonight if he can hold on to that spot and use Tyler Ducharme as a pick. 2 laps to go. Bergeron now tries to get by Shell. Ducharme tries to run away, trying to hold on to a podium. Oh well, Cameron Merriman taking the white flag here at Weedsport.
One more time around for Cameron Merriman. He's trying to do it here tonight. He's trying to upset the big guys. And down the back straightaway, for the first time in his career, he's a winner with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series on iRacing. Cameron Merriman wins at the Weedsport Speedway. James Edens 2nd, Tyler Ducharme 3rd at the line, Hayden Cardwell 4th, and then Tyler Shell will end up in the 5th spot in one of the wildest series of events I've ever seen in the closing laps of one of these races.
Wow. Just wow. All I can say is it looked like it was going to be Cardwell versus Bergeron, but a big mistake in turn 1 and 2 leads to a magnitude of a mistake that will shuffle up this championship big time, to say the very least. This is going to be huge for the complexion of the championship going forward.
Holy cow, what a race here tonight, and Cameron Merriman is going to be absolutely ecstatic with that one. He gets the win over James Edens and Tyler Ducharme, and I'm not kidding you, I believe that's all 3 of those drivers' first podium of the season. Hayden Cardwell 4th, Tyler Shell was 5th, Alex Bergeron 6th, J.D. Brown a great run in 7th, Adam Elby 8th, Alex Smolders 9th, and from the B main event, Cole Cabrey in 10th, Justin.
Rusty Kruger comes home at 11, the points night he needed to try and get into the top 15 after being 20 points back entering tonight. Well, Mason Hannigan continues what has been a strong middle portion of the calendar. He's up to 12 to end off this race. Kendall Tucker recovers to 13th after being shuffled to nearly a lap down. Daniel Gow finished in 14th spot. Tim Ryan was up towards the front early on. Before mistakes built up, he finished in 15th position. Anthony Job, Colton Harney, Joshua Steinke, Braden Eiler, Nick Cooper round out your 20 entrants in the feature race tonight.
What an exciting race here tonight at Weedsport. It was a new track onto the schedule, and it delivered some new stuff here this evening. My goodness, that was a lot of fun to watch. We're going to take a short break here on DirtVision.com. We'll be right back to talk with our top 3 finishers here this evening. Welcome back to Weedsport Speedway, and a first-time, a surprise winner here tonight. It is Cameron Merriman getting the job done at the Weedsport Speedway for the first time in his career. Cameron is standing by with us now, and what a race, Cameron. You were fast all night long. I was talking about in the heat race that you were keeping pace with Alex Bergeron, and it looked like you were going to be very good here tonight. Did you expect to pick up the win, man?
That's a hard question to answer. You know, given the past couple weeks, it's been really tough out on the track. The competition is so stiff, and you get hit with one mistake or one bit of bad luck, and your night's pretty much over. So tonight, you know, the roles were kind of reversed. Hayden Cardwell and Bergeron got into a mess between themselves, and I was kind of gifted a top spot there, and all I had to do was keep it clean. But like you said, in the heat race, you know, I knew I'd have good pace late, and then when the race directors announced that they were going to do a track reset for the feature race, it got me a little worried because I wasn't so sure about my pace on a clean track, but I knew that it would come around eventually. And sure enough, after that last restart, I felt like I had competitive pace. I just needed to be patient and stick to the line that I knew I could run, which was down there on the bottom, and just wait for something to happen. And I got to say, something pretty big did happen.
It absolutely did in this one, Cameron. And of course, you mentioned it, the momentum building up the past few weeks in terms of speed as well. You've been up towards the top of the practice charts. You've been quick inside the top 10 all season in some of these races. Overall, what's kind of the emotions now knowing that all that work is now paid off to be able to break through the victory lane?
It's nothing other than sheer relief. I do not consider myself an underdog. I think, you know, I race with these guys almost every week, and I find that I have great pace in feature races all throughout the night. And like I said, you get stung a bunch of times, and it wears on your confidence, it wears on your patience. So I knew I just had to come in tonight with a fresh, level head, and I knew eventually, you know, I'd be able to, you know, snag a top 5, snag a top 3, and at least put myself in a position to run for a win. And you know, tonight I don't know that I necessarily won on merit, but you know, I'll take it. That was cool.
There's no doubt about it. You were one of the best cars on the racetrack all night long. With this win here tonight, obviously you mentioned you race with these guys week in and week out in various leagues and hosted sessions and all that. But when it comes to this session, this pro series with all these guys, getting this win tonight, is it sort of a relief? Is it like a weight lifted off your shoulders? Now you can go into the next race with, does it add more confidence, or what is this doing for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting and complex question to answer. Certainly there is relief. I think that there is an undeniable amount of confidence building that it gives you, because you know, you can feel confident yourself and come in here with this group of guys that, I mean, you guys have seen it. The qualifying times are split from first to 30th sometimes by no more than a tenth. And if you find yourself on the bottom end of that, that can be incredibly disheartening. And you're putting yourself, racing for your life in a heat race for a transfer spot. It's just crazy, right? So, hats off to the competition that shows up here every Monday night and the work that they put in. It's really respectable. So to find myself at the top of the podium, I'm definitely relieved, and in a way, I'm kind of honored, to be able to take a win off these guys who are, excellent and show great pace and great consistency week in and week out.
Well, Cameron, no doubt about it, a really, really cool win here tonight to see you get it done for the first time. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's Cameron Merriman, the driver of the number 17, gets the win here tonight at the Weedsport Speedway. And in second, it is the 52 car. James Eden's having his best run of the year. And James, you and Cameron both kind of in the catbird seat there late in the race when Cardwell and Bergeron get together. And towards the end, it looked like you were running Cameron down a little bit, just kind of ran out of laps there.
Yeah, he was really good on the bottom. I kind of set up for the middle, hoping it was going to stay a little bit longer than it did. So just, too tight to turn on the bottom like he was. So, but yeah, we just kind of finally put a night together and the luck went our way for once.
Yes, indeed, in this one. And talk us through what has been an up and down season for you, because you've shown speed at times, but you've also haven't had the luck go your way.
Yeah, it just kind of boils down to, qualifying this year. It's a lot harder than it has been. Everyone's so close. So, you just end up mid-pack and, it's very easy for something to go wrong. So, hopefully if we can just figure out qualifying and, start front row heat races, it'll improve our luck.
Now, James, you've been in this series for I believe the entirety, since 2018, I believe, and now this is the first time in history that we've had two new tracks in a row here. Next week, heading to the Cedar Lake Speedway. What do you think we can expect from that place?
Ran a few races. It seems pretty good, pretty racy. Hopefully, just hopefully we keep some moisture in it and just a couple lines to race on. It'll be exciting for sure.
Well, James, nice job on the second place run here tonight.
Thanks.
James Eden second here this evening in the number 52 car, and in third, it was the 25 car of Tyler Ducharme having an absolutely fantastic run. And Tyler, it looked like really the first 15 or so laps that you might have been one of the best cars on the racetrack, and in the end, it kind of all worked out for you with your first podium of the season.
Yeah, man, car was good. I got to thank these Swindell and Slick guys, man. The cars have been absolutely on point all year. Yeah, I felt like we had at least a top 4 speed there, and then those two got together, and I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. And I just kind of went for the hole that they left and kind of got the third there and just started protecting, because I knew if I left any hole on the bottom, Alex would get back around me. So I kind of went to protect mode. It probably cost me time in the leaders, but, I wanted to get third real bad. I felt like I should have had second last week and just made some bad choices there at the end and ended up fourth. So, yeah, it's been a wild season so far. Hopefully we can keep up the momentum.
I believe we spoke with you a little bit earlier on in the campaign where you mentioned a little bit in the past, especially in some of the various iRacing events, the need to improve as the track slickened up. How have you felt that improvement has gone along throughout this season to try and keep up with the pace of the series?
I feel like I've been doing a lot better. I mean, last week we were I don't know if we were a winning car, but we definitely had a top 2 pace in there, and it showed there right at the end. I mean, we were up to second there battling with Kendall and Hayden, and just kind of missed run a couple lines that shouldn't have. And tonight, I mean, I just kind of got lucky there in the third, but I was staying right with them guys. They weren't pulling away from me, so I think it's gone well. Hopefully we can keep up the momentum, like I said, and just try and bring home a top 5 points. That's really my goal. It's top 5 points. That'd be awesome.
Well, on that note, I mean, with Nick Cooper's misfortune here tonight, you will indeed go by him and maybe get close to Tim Ryan, as he did not have a good night either. So that top 5 goal could possibly be accomplished this season, man. And it's been a long time coming for you. You've ran this series for a few years now, and a top 5 would be absolutely incredible for you.
Oh man, it'd be huge. I've run the late models every year, and I've run the sprint cars the last 2, and I've had some good runs, been close to a couple wins. I mean, drove off the track last year leading at Lernerville, and a couple times the late models the first season had a shot to win, and but kind of struggled on that side of things. Hopefully, maybe this year we'll turn that around. But the sprint car stuff, it seems like I just can get a really good qualifying run and then just try and, if everything clicks, if we go to the right track conditions, I feel like I can compete. And tonight showed that. I felt like I could have won a heat race and kind of gotten to the fence there trying to battle Tim. So I don't know. Hopefully everything just keeps clicking and we'll just keep plugging off these top fives.
Nice job tonight, man.
Yep. Thanks, Rod.
All right, Tyler Ducharme finishes P3 tonight on the bottom step of the podium. And with that, Justin, we got to give our post-race thoughts because, wow, that's a lot to take in right there between your championship two. We've got the points, though. I think we got the points updated. Let's take a look at them here, Justin, and kind of decipher what's going on.
Well, as explained a little bit with that pick, essentially, of Tyler Schell for the positionings, that is big because Hayden Cardwell, now your points leader by just 4 points. Kendall Tucker with his rough night. He falls out of potential possibilities for the championship, but there's still plenty of time to go, but it would be tough sledding from here. Tim Ryan, same situation, trying to hold on to the top 4 still. Currently, momentum's not gone his way the past couple weeks now as a result of some of the craziness. But here's the thing when it comes to that incident. It was a hard racing situation where you're racing for the win. One driver going for one preferred line, one going for the other preferred line, and those in turn almost look like they went towards the fact they merged chase. And in turn, I know it's hotly contested, but it's to be expected when you're racing for wins in this series, that drivers are going to race all out every single night. And we've seen that tonight, and in turn, it's made things very interesting for Cedar Lake.
Yeah, and you mentioned Cedar Lake. Next week, you will not want to miss it. The newest track on the iRacing sim, the Cedar Lake Speedway, is the next stop on the calendar. You see it right there. As you take a look at the rest of the results and things like that, Volusia, Bergeron with the win. Knoxville, it was Tim Ryan. Fairbury, it was Cardwell. Then Bergeron. Tonight looked like it was going to be Bergeron, but it was not. You can chalk up Cameron Merriman for his first ever win there at the Weedsport Speedway. And next week when we head to Cedar Lake, I think there's going to be some tempers between, some bad blood, I feel like, between Cardwell and Bergeron when we head off to that place.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some likely discussions after this one, as mentioned. But the main key thing is going to be how the drivers react to that. Because do you have a short memory, or do you race a little bit harder? It's been a championship that has been tit for tat, blow for blow throughout the season. And I wouldn't be surprised for it to continue come next round.
And with that, we are going to say goodbye to you here tonight on DirtVision.com. My name is Chase Rodman for Justin Prince and Tyler Maxson. We wish everyone happy holidays and a Merry Christmas, and we hope to see you at the next race 2 weeks from now at the Cedar Lake Speedway for the 7th round of the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship here on iRacing.com. Good night, everyone.